Welcome you all for today's lecture. In continuation to the previous lecture, we started with a Z transform, wherein we understood that this type of Z transform will be applicable for the discrete time system or a discrete time signal. Okay, so what exactly it will do is whatever the difference equation will be there, that will be converted into algebraic equation. Okay, so similar to the Z transform, there will be a Laplace transform that is applicable for the continuous time system or a signal. Okay, wherein it is also that will also the Laplace transform will also convert the differential equation into a algebraic equation. Okay, so that's what we have understood from the previous lecture. And apart from that, one more point we have highlighted, that is ROC. Okay, so ROC is the region of convergence, and wherein it tells us about where exactly the x of z lies in the z plane. Okay, so in continuation to that, we also saw like what are the properties of the region of convergence, that is ROC. Around 8 properties that we have discussed in the previous lecture. Apart from that, we started with the right hand sequence and left hand sequence. So right hand sequence are the sequence of like discrete time signal. It exists for only the positive values of time or positive time sequence. Okay, so all these points we have discussed. Relatively a left hand sequence, okay, wherein it exists for only the negative values of n. Okay, and correspondingly what will be the ROC for these two things. Okay, like right hand side sequence के लिए क्या होता है and left hand side sequence के लिए क्या होता है, that also we saw. Then we saw two-sided sequence wherein the x of n, whatever the z transform we are going to apply, that x of n is having both the positive values of n as well as negative values of n. Okay, so relatively we have started with the properties of the z transform, wherein around 13 properties are there that I have highlighted in the previous lecture. Okay, so with the linearity, that is the first property of the Z transform. The definition wise we have understood what is the linearity, and we have also seen the proof of all the properties whatever we have covered in the previous lecture. Okay, so we covered the linearity property and the time shifting property. Okay, so I am not going to elaborate these things again and again here. Okay, then it is time reversal. Okay, so then it's about the multiplication by n. Okay, so don't get confused with the other thing. Okay, so it is multiplication by n. Okay, then it is convolution. Okay, and then so here is the seventh property which we will start discussing for the today's lecture. Okay, so it is time expansion. Okay, time expansion and time compression, that are the two parts of the time related operation that we have seen in the first unit, wherein time expansion tells us like whatever the intervals are there, if it is been divided, then it will be expanded. Okay, so like if you want to see here, okay, that xk of n is equal to x of n by k. Okay, so whatever the n intervals are there, n samples are there, that is been divided by the k terms. Okay, so here you could say the k is some constant term. Okay, and so if it is been divided, then whatever the sequence of n x of n that I will be getting after the division of the intervals, that will be a expanded version. Okay, so if I have instead of this n by k, if I will be having like kn, that will be the scaling factor wherein it will be compressed. Okay, so in that manner you need to understand here time expansion. The signal xk of n equal to x of n by k if n is the multiple of k. Okay, what does it means multiple of k? So n can be directly divisible by k. Okay, so suppose if you consider n ka value 10 and if k is 2, that will be perfectly divisible, wherein your remainder will be 0. Okay, then if not, okay, if n is not a multiple of k, then that time xk of n, that will be 0. Okay, in the same scenario, if you want to consider the example, that would be if n equal to 10 and k equal to 3, that cannot be a multiple of n. So obviously for that the xk of n will be 0. Okay, and here it says that it has k minus 1 zeros. Okay, so we have seen from the previous lecture that x of z, that is in the z domain, x of z can be represented in the polynomial form. So zeros we will get by putting x of z equal to 0, that is the numerator polynomial has to be made at 0. Then whatever the values of z we will get, they will be zeros. Okay, so similarly if you want to find out the poles, that time you need to consider the denominator polynomial, wherein you have to make a x of z equal to infinite. Okay, so all these points we have discussed in the previous lecture. So whatever the expanded signal will be there, that will be having k minus 1 zeros inserted between the successive values of the original signal. Okay, so we will understand them when we solve some of the problems related to this. Otherwise, as a statement you can understand this one. Okay, so if k for the same example, if you consider n is equal to 10 and k equal to 2, so for this there will be k minus 1. Here I have considered that k equal to 2, so 2 minus 1, that would be 1. Only 1 zeros will be there. Okay, so in that scenario, okay, if z transform of x of n is represented as x of z here, okay, then whatever the expanded signal is there, that is xk of n, uska z transform kya hoga, that would be x of z power k. Okay, so please understand these notations. Okay, so here you can prove that, okay, z transform of xk of n, that will be equal to summation n equal to minus infinity to infinity x of n by k z power minus n. Okay, now whatever the n by k term is there, you can say here xk of n is nothing but x of n by k for the multiples of n only. Okay, so we will see that constraint later on, but consider x of n के बदले यहाँ पे x of n by k आएगा. Okay, so that I will here they have assumed it as n by k equal to L. Then z transform of xk of n equal to summation L equal to minus infinity to infinity x of L z power minus k L. Okay, z power k को अंदर ले लो और minus L बाहर रख लो. So this will be again in the form of x of z is equal to summation x of like L equal to minus infinity to infinity x of L, whatever the z term is there, power minus L. Okay, so that would be directly x of z power k. So this is the proof for the time expansion signal. Okay, moving next, it's about the conjugation. So I hope you know about this word conjugation, wherein this will be a complex term. Okay, so like if you say if x of n ka z transform is represented as x of z, then the conjugate of the x of n ka z transform, that would be x conjugate of z conjugate. Okay, so please understand these notations. Okay, so if you look into the proof for this, okay, so z transform of x conjugate of n will be summation n equal to minus infinity to infinity. It's like conjugate is nothing but here in terms of like negation. Okay, it's like a negation. Okay, then x conjugate of n z power minus n, that can be written as x of n z conjugate of minus n whole conjugate, that would be x of z conjugate whole conjugate, that can be written here directly as x conjugate of z conjugate. Okay, so that will be a proof. Okay, so these terms are very much useful when it comes to some other problems that we will see. Okay, then complex convolution theorem. So here for this maybe you may not need the proof for that, but relatively this property is also very much important. Okay, to solve the Parseval's theorem and the initial and final value theorem. Okay, so we will see what is this complex convolution theorem. So Z transform of the product of the two sequence, okay, can be related to the Z transform of individual sequence through the complex convolution theorem. Okay, suppose consider there is a x3 of n, that's a third signal, is the multiple of two sequences x1 of n and x2 of n. Then the Z transform of x3 of n can be represented in the form of complex convolution. Okay, so that would be 1 upon 2 pi j. This is the integral over the circle x1 of v, x2 of z by v power minus 1 dv. Okay, so wherein these terms x1 of v and x2 of z by v are the individual Z transform of the x1 of n and x2 of n. Okay, relatively. So whatever the region of convergence for this x3 of z, that would be like it consists of all the values of z such that if v is in the region of the convergence of x1 of z, and then the other constant has to be z by v should be there in the region of convergence of x2 of z. Okay, then whatever the counter of integration of c, that is the circular integration, is the closed counter inside the intersection of the convergence regions of the x1 of v and the x2 of z by v. Okay, so whatever the region of convergence of x1 of v and x2 of z by v will be there, उसका जो intersection है उधर आपका region of convergence of x3 of z will be there. Okay, then the next property is Parseval's relation. Okay, so Parseval's relation is the name of the person who quoted this relation for the complex conjugate terms. Okay, so what is the constraint here? So consider the two complex valued sequence, that is x1 of n and x2 of n. Okay, so Parseval's relation states that summation n equal to minus infinity to infinity x1 of n then and x2 of conjugate of n, okay, x2 का conjugate होता है, that will be equal to 1 by 2 pi j integral over the counter integral over the circle C. Okay, x1 of v, x2 of conjugate of 1 by v conjugate into v inverse dv. Okay, so whatever the complex convolution theorem that we saw in the previous slide, that is been used to derive this one. Okay, so previously I will go back here so that I can show you. You can see here when a sequence is the multiple of the two individual sequences, okay, two sequences are product of the third sequence, then उसका conjugate sequence हम ऐसा represent कर सकते हैं. So using this theorem the Parseval's relation can be proved. Okay, so where the counter integration, this is the counter integration, must be in the overlap of the region of the convergence of x1 of v and x2 conjugate of 1 by v conjugate. Okay, so please understand this. Okay, so how we will prove that? Okay, so consider a scenario wherein y of n is the product of x1 of n and conjugate of x2 of n. Okay, so similar to the previous slide wherein x3 of n is the product of the x1 of n and x2 of n. Here we will be considering that y of n equal to x1 of n and multiplied with a x2 conjugate of n. So from the complex conjugate relation we can write this one. Okay, So if you apply the Z transform for this, that would be y of z equal to summation n equal to minus infinity to infinity. This is the complete x of n term, okay, like x of n term that will be coming here, and z power minus n. Okay, so using the complex convolution theorem, we can write whatever it is there. This term, like multiple term, can be directly written as y of z equal to 1 by 2 pi j counter integral of the c x1 of v x2 conjugate of z conjugate by v conjugate into v inverse dv. Okay, so wherever this x2 of n term was there, उसके बदले अभी conjugate of x2 आएगा. Okay, now equate these two terms, like this, consider this is equation number 1 and this would be equation number 2. If you equate them, because both on the left hand side you have y of z, okay, so this term, the RHS of first equation will be equal to the RHS of the second equation. Okay, then that would be a relation here, Parseval's relation, you can see here. Okay, so that exactly we have proved the Parseval's relation. Okay, then the next property, okay, this is the initial value theorem. These are the two important properties. Up to now, whatever the 11 properties what we have seen, that exist for all the other 2 units also, like Fourier series में भी यही properties आएंगे and Fourier transform में भी यही properties आएंगे. Okay, so but this initial value theorem and final value theorem, one more property is there related to the Z transform, we will see, are these two properties exist for only this Z transform. Okay, so don't get confused. Even if you have the syllabus of Laplace transform, there also you could see them, but the Laplace transform is not there for you at this point, so that's why don't get confused with that. Okay, so if you search in the internet, you could see initial value theorem exists for both the Z transform as well as the Laplace transform. Okay, so Z transform related to the discrete time system, that's why it is there, and Laplace transform, it can be applicable for the continuous time signal, that is also because of that initial value theorem is exist for that also. Okay, so in continuation to the discussion, initial value theorem, it says that x plus of z. Okay, so I guess you remember the notation of x plus of z. This x plus of z representation says that it is one-sided sequence. Either it could be a right-handed sequence or left-hand sequence, but it is one-sided. Since it is plus here, you can say it is right-handed sequence wherein it exists for only the positive values of n. Okay, in that sense you have to understand. Okay, don't get confused if it is there for the examination, wherein if it is mentioned it as x plus of z. Okay, so it means that it exists for only the right hand side. So the intervals will be from 0 or from n0 to up to infinite. Okay, that's how you have to identify. So what it says, initial value theorem, if x plus of z is the z transform of x of n, okay, wherein x of n is the right hand sequence, okay, by looking at this notation I can say, then initial value means what could be the initial value for the x of n. As I said, it is the right hand sequence. Okay, so initial value will be 0 only. Okay, like n0 can be 0 or greater than 0. So initial value will be 0 only. It cannot be exist for the negative values of n. So that's why initial value of x of n would be x of 0. Please understand in that manner. Okay, I hope it is clear to you now. X of 0 is the first value of the x of n that could be possible. Okay, because it is x plus of z. Okay, then limit z tends to infinite. If limit z tends to infinite is been applied for this, that would be x of 0. Okay, so we will go in the proof, then you will understand it more clearly. So proof for that, x plus of z would be summation n equal to 0 to infinite. As I said, the whatever the x of z expression that we saw earlier, that is summation n equal to minus infinity to infinity x of n z power minus n. Now because of this x plus of z representation, you can understand that it exists from 0 to infinite. Okay, it is right handed sequence. X of n z power minus n, that would be x of 0 plus if you substitute the different values of n, that would be x of 0 plus x of 1 z power minus 1 plus x of 2 z power minus 2, like that it will go up to infinite. Okay, so as the z tends to infinite, all the terms vanishes except x of z equal to x of 0. Okay, they will get vanished, because if you consider in the right handed sequence, if z का वैल्यू इन्फिनिट हो गया तो इन्फिनिट यहाँ पे सब्स्टिट्यूट करूँगा तो दिस विल बी 0, here also it will be 0, here also it will be 0, z power minus 3, z power minus 4, z power minus 5, whatever it is, all those terms will be divided like 1 by infinite, 1 by infinite, 1 by infinite. That's why the wherever there is this z terms, all those terms will be 0 if z tends to infinite. If this is the case, then these terms will be 0. Only thing it will be there on the right hand side will be x of 0. Okay, so therefore whatever the initial value theorem that we saw is x of 0 is equal to, as the limit z tends to infinite, x plus of z is the x of 0 only. Okay, I hope it is clear to you. Then it is final value theorem. Final value theorem, as I said, it could be a last value. Okay, last value for the right hand sequence. Okay, consider the right hand sequence. Initial value is nothing but it is the 0th value, and what will be the final value for the x plus of z? That would be infinite. Okay, in that manner only you can directly understand. Okay, so if x plus of z equal to z transform of x of n, okay, where the ROC of x plus of z includes, okay, like, but not necessarily confined to z greater than 1 and z minus 1 x of x plus of z has no poles on or outside the unit circle. Okay, so this is the important condition for the existence of the final value. Okay, what is that? The z minus 1 x of x plus of z has no poles on or outside the unit circle. Unit circle is nothing but the z value is equal to 1, so उसका poles नहीं होना चाहिए on or outside. Then the final value can be represented as x of infinite equal to limit z tends to 1 z minus 1 x plus of z. Okay, so this could be the case. Like if you consider the scenario wherein if z is equal to 1, what will happen? So here अगर मैं z equal to 1 डाल दिया तो क्या होगा, ये 0 हो जाएगा. Okay, so that time it cannot be exist. Okay, so that's why whatever the numerator values are there, they will represent the poles, and no poles has to be there in the on or outside the unit circle. Okay, that's why modulus of z has to be greater than 1. Okay, so proof for this, like consider the z transform of x of n plus 1 minus z transform of x of n. Okay, then that would be limit k tends to infinite summation n equal to 0 to k x of n plus 1 minus x of n z power minus n. Okay, since by the plus we understood that the summation terms will be there from 0 to k only, and the limit terms are there because k it can be tends to infinite. Okay, so simply this could be written as summation n equal to 0 to infinite. Okay, but that is also same representation only. Okay, now if we perform the z transform of this, that would be z x plus of z minus z of x of 0. Okay, and z transform of x of n can be represented as x plus of z. So this is on the left hand side. Okay, so you can say this is the next sequence of the z transform of the next sequence. So that's why it is z x plus of z minus z x of 0. Okay, then on the right hand side it will be remain same. Then if you simplify this one, z minus 1 will be taken outside, x plus of z minus z x of 0, that would be on the right hand side, it will be same. Okay, next, as it says in the proof that as the z tends to 1, what will happen? Okay, so apply that limit z tends to 1, z minus 1 x plus of z minus x of 0 equal to limit k tends to infinite. तो you इसको expand कर लो on whatever we have on the right hand side. Start substituting the different values of n here. Okay, so if n equal to 0, what will happen? This will be x of 1 minus x of 0. Then n equal to 1, that time it would be x of 2 minus x of 1. In that sense, you can understand here like limit k tends to infinite, x of 1 minus x of 0 plus x2 x of 2 minus x of 1 plus x of 3 minus x of 2. It will go up to x of k plus 1 minus x of k. That would be, as the k tends to infinite, this can be written as x of infinite minus x of 0. Okay, so x of 0 on the right hand side and x of 0 on the left hand side will be cancelled. So you can directly prove that x of infinite, that is the final value, equal to limit z tends to 1 z of z minus 1 x plus of z. Okay, so other representation is also there, but not necessary to be confused. So this much is sufficient. Okay, so I hope these properties are very clear to you. That concludes all the properties, all the 13 properties of the Z transform. Okay, so we will see some of the problems and then we will conclude the today's lecture. Okay, so here is the first problem on the final value theorem, wherein you have been asked to find the x of infinite and the x of z is been given to you. Okay, so we need to find the final value for the given x of z. So three questions are there relatively. We will solve one by one. So A, we will say x of z is equal to z plus 2 upon z minus 0.8 square. Okay, so from this, the x of z is the representation of polynomial, wherein we have a numerator polynomial as well as we have the denominator polynomial. So if you solve for them separately, that time you can get the poles and zeros. Okay, so if in numerator को equate कर देंगे, so that will be z equal to minus 2. If z plus 2 equal to 0, that time you can say z equal to minus 2. So at minus 2, I will have the 0 for the given x of z. And what about the denominator? So in the denominator we have z minus 0.8 square. Okay, so by the observation we can say the region of convergence for the given x of z will be, the modulus of z should be greater than 0.8. Okay, so why we have considered this one? We know the property of the ROC, wherein ROC cannot have the poles inside that circle or the ring. Okay, so whatever the circle that is been created of the z is of 0.8, you can say like diameter or the radius. So obviously it will not be there inside this or less than this. Okay, so ROC for this should be greater than this one, 0.8 से ज़्यादा होगा. Okay, so now what is the final value theorem? It says if limit z tends to 1 z of z minus 1 x of z x plus of z whatever it is there equal to x of final value, x of infinite, that is the equation we have. So that's why we will do this z minus 1 x of z, and has the no poles on or outside the unit circle, because your z is outside this one 0.8. so unit circle is having greater than 1 होना चाहिए, but it is greater than 0.8 है. Okay, so that's why the x of infinite final value for this one will be 0. Okay, final value for this one will be 0. Next, the second question, the second part of the question, it is z plus 1 upon 3 into z minus 1 into z plus 0.9. Okay, that is the x of z given to you. Now we have the term z minus 1 in the denominator, that I will take on the right hand on the left hand side. That will become z minus 1 x of z equal to z plus 1 upon 3 into z plus 0.9. Okay, by looking at this one, I can say there will not be any poles on or outside the unit circle, because the pole is there at 0.9 only. Okay, if we equate this one equal to 0, z will be there at 0.9. So there will not be any poles on or outside the unit circle. Okay, so for this you can directly generate a x of infinite, like x of infinite equal to limit z tends to 1 z minus 1 x of z. Okay, तो अगर मैं इसको z का वैल्यू 1 कर दूंगा तो यहाँ पे क्या आएगा, that will be limit z tends to 1. We have the expression for z minus 1 into x of z, that is z plus 1 upon 3 into z plus 0.9. Okay, substitute the z value as 1, that would be 2 upon 3 into 1.9 equal to 0.35. that is the final value, that is x of infinite for the given x of z. Okay, so here that is not a possible, because if you substitute z equal to 1, no, here this term will get 0. Okay, so that's why the value is 0 here. But यहाँ पे already this z minus 1 x plus x of z term is there exist, so you can calculate some value here. Okay, moving next, it's the third part of the question, wherein x of z as 3z plus 4 upon z minus 1 into z plus 1. Okay, now if we take again, here also we have z minus 1 term in the denominator, that if I take on the left hand side, here it is there. If I take on the left hand side, I will have z minus 1 into x of z, which is equal to 3z plus 4 upon z plus 1. Okay, now we have the final value theorem, x of infinite is equal to limit z tends to 1 x z minus 1 x of z. So we have this term, that this one I will substitute here, and then if I look into the given x of infinite, wherein in the denominator I have a z equal to minus 1 term. So whatever the pole of minus 1 is there, that lies on the unit circle. Okay, please understand here, once again I am highlighting, whatever the region of convergence circle, it will be making of unit circle. So because z equal to minus 1, so it lies, the pole lies on the unit circle. So that's why the x of infinite, that is final value, cannot be defined for such a x of z. Okay, please understand. I hope all the three categories of the conditions are covered with these three simple examples. Okay, then we will solve some more problems on the z transform by applying these properties. Okay, so in the earlier section we saw some of the problems just by solving according to the summation equation. Okay, now we have the properties which, applying these properties, the solving for the x z term, that is getting the x of z, will be very easy. Okay, so we will see some one example here. The x of n is given as x of n equal to half n square plus n into 1 upon 3 power n minus 1 u of n minus 1. Okay, look at the question here. We have multiple terms, multiple possibility, so we will use the multiple properties, different properties to solve them. Okay, उसको फिर से यहाँ पे लिखा है x of n equal to given x of n is this. Now there is an additional term here, added term is there, उसके साथ एक multiplication है, तो इसको distributive property हम apply कर सकते हैं यहाँ पे. So that would be x of n equal to 1 upon 2 1 by 2 n square 1 by 3 power n minus 1 u of n minus 1 plus 1 by 2 n 1 by 3 power n minus 1 u of n minus 1. Okay, now by looking at these terms we can have this one, like if z transform of 1 by 3 power n un can be represented as z upon z minus 1 by 3. How we can write this one directly, because we know this one, z transform of a power n u of n can be, will be like z upon z minus a. So यहाँ पे a term है 1 by 3, so that's why we can get this one. Now we can apply the time shifting property. This is for the generalized thing. Now we need to apply the time shifting property, that is it is been shifted right by 1 unit, n naught unit is 1, so that will be z transform of 1 by 3 power n minus 1 u of n minus 1. Okay, so that would be 1 upon z minus 1 by 3. Okay, so go back to the properties whatever we have discussed in the previous lecture and today's lecture also. They will help you to identify and solve these sequences very easily. Okay, and so we got the z transform of this particular term. Now we will see for the other terms also which exist here, like by using the multiplication property, wherein z transform of n 1 upon 3 power n minus 1 u of n minus 1 can be written as minus z d by dz of 1 upon z minus 1 by 3. Okay, so if I differentiate this term with respect to z, we will have minus z as it is outside, so the differentiation of this with respect to z will be minus 1 upon z minus 1 by 3 whole square. Okay, so that would be z upon z minus 1 by 3 square. Okay, now come back here, we have z transform of n square into 1 upon 3 power n minus 1 u of n minus 1. So again we have the multiplication property, यहाँ पे सिर्फ n टर्म था, यहाँ पे n square term है, so in that manner you can say 2 times it will be done here, so minus z d by dz of z upon z minus 1 by 3 square. Okay, so that is, you can see a one time differentiation is done here for respect to n, and for the n square again this term is taken here for the differentiation. Now if we differentiate this term, so that would lead us to z into z plus 1 by 3 upon z minus 1 by 3 whole cube. That will be a z transform of this term. Okay, now we have the both the terms combined. Now x of z will be 1 by 2 z into z plus 1 by 3 upon z minus 1 by 3 whole cube plus z by z minus 1 by 3 square. So just by simplifying you will get z square upon z minus 1 by 3 cube. For such sequence the ROC will be greater than 1 by 3, because you will see only one pole is there at 1 by 3. Okay, so this is about the problem. With the properties it is very easy, so you should understand the properties, solve them, make a note by yourself, that will be very helpful for you. Otherwise it will be difficult, okay, just by looking at the question and solving them. Okay, and if there is a possibility of MCQ questions for you also, you need to highlight these very basic things by looking at the question, how we can identify the right hand sequence, left hand sequence, initial value will be what, final value will be what. So if you know these things, if you understand these things, then it will be very easy for you to write the MCQ type questions on the signals and systems. Okay, so I hope this is very clear to you, today's lecture. If there is any queries are there, please contact me, put a message to me, I will reply. So I will end the today's lecture now. Okay, thank you.